I thought we had a much more spirited scrimmage. It was still hot out there, probably not as humid as it was last time. We didn't have the rain delay this time, but they started out a lot better. Started out a lot faster, a lot more competitive. Thought both ones units played better, which meant the twos probably didn't play as well. But there were some explosive plays in the scrimmage, and I was proud of the competitive toughness. There's a lot of snaps out there. I think we ended up with 135 snaps, which is basically 2 football games wrapped into one. And we had a lot of special team snaps mixed in too. So the guys really pushed hard. They were hurting at the end. There were some really competitive goal line periods. Red area period was competitive, second, 10, third down. Everything was pretty even across the board when we did ones-on-ones. So I thought that was good. We were able to get some of the playmakers the ball on the perimeter and probably made more plays in the passing game than we did on the other one. That opened it up.
Coach, at this stage, where do you feel, I guess, about the overall progression of where you're at right now with the season now 2 weeks away?
We got a lot to work on, a lot of situational, whether it's hands, onside, all that stuff. But I'm very pleased with the effort, the effort that our kids are playing with. I'm proud of that. I mean, we've had some tough physical practices, and these guys, this group has not backed away or shied away from that. Our worst practice by far was last Saturday, and I'm not saying today was our best, but it was definitely to par with the other good practices.
You are a couple of weeks solid into preseason camp, and that's really tough on the body part. How you guys holding up physically?
Doing good. We got some guys beat up. We had a couple guys that couldn't really go today that have been, not been able to practice some, but knock on wood, no major injuries. They're going to have tomorrow off. Monday is going to be a light walkthrough. So this is kind of where we say, okay, we've got to start getting them back. We got to get recovery. We got to get fluids. So when you have 48 hours, we feel like you can almost recover to a full extent, and we're hoping to get everybody's legs back. You could see today, the GPS says it, that a guy that was running 19 is running 17. A guy that runs 21 is running 18, 19. They're hurting a little bit, but part of that is mental toughness and the grit, and they've been able to handle that.
Julian Rochester was a guy in Daily Marshall. Can you tell us where they're at? And I guess Kobe Dean, he wasn't seen in the Orlando.
Yeah, Nakobe's banged up. He wasn't able to scrimmage today, but he's going to be fine, we think. He got out there and moved around some, did some stuff. Julian is coming off the ACL repair, and he's practiced every day. He does some periods with us, and he does other periods with a trainer where he runs and gets his mileage up, but not as much contact stuff. So he's doing a little bit of both. And then, who's the other one? David. David does about 50% with us, 50% with the trainer. So we're just, Julian and David are both older players, 4th-year players who are not 100%. So we're trying to control their volume of reps, also giving some of the other guys reps. But they've practiced each day.
Who hit on some of those explosive plays?
The receivers. A lot of the receivers did. It wasn't this, last scrimmage it seemed like the backs out of the backfield had some big plays. It was the wideouts as a group. Cager had one, George had one, Tyler had one. Trey Blunt had one. We had several guys have explosive. Explosive to me is over 12, 13 yards. Kieras had a big one. So, it seemed very balanced on the explosive part.
Are you happy with the progress of that unit?
There's been progress, yeah. I think you can always do more. That's what we're trying to do. So, I'm very pleased with that group's effort, toughness, resiliency, pushing through, contact toughness. There's some balls that probably should have been caught that weren't today, but that's probably always going to be the case.
How do you manage, or I don't know, manage may be the wrong word. DeAndre Swift is a guy that had his ups and downs last year. How has he done this fall camp?
DeAndre's been good. DeAndre's a good leader in that group. He's very bright. He's probably our most, and I say Brian's the most experienced because Brian has been here longer. Brian doesn't have as much volume of carry as DeAndre does, but Brian has more practice experience, probably more reps, just because you got to remember he went through a whole spring when DeAndre was still in high school. But DeAndre's been good.
I want to ask you about Jarvis Jones and his role with the outside linebackers. How did that kind of come about with you guys decided to bring him on to help, and how did his relationship with Dell in terms of him coaching in high school?
Well, to be honest with you, Dale brought it about. Dale did a good job. I mean, I wasn't aware that he was done with football, and Dale just came and told me, hey, Jarvis is going to be back here in school. And I thought, oh, man, that's an awesome opportunity. I've had the fortune of a Kevin Butler, a Chris Samuels, so some really special players who've come back to work as undergrads. And Jarvis is here every day. A lot of times you get those guys, and they can't be all in. They either got a family, they got something going on. Jarvis is all in. I mean, he's in there to learn. He helps set the tempo, set the standard in the outside linebacker room. He demands excellence. I mean, he played the position. He knows what it takes to play it. And at that position, in that position group, you know, we have talented players, but a lot of those guys don't have any experience. And here's a guy that did it in the NFL and did it here at a high level, and he's from our state, played for one of our coaches. I mean, it's a blessing.
Kirby, opening with at Vanderbilt, I guess you guys have a 70-man decision to make right away in the first game. Is that going to be tougher than usual, or not necessarily?
It's always tough. I mean, it's tough 80, it's tough 85. It's tough when you travel 100, because whoever the 101st, 71st, 86th, it's tough. And it's going to be, you know, even tougher. But we know that what we decide there is not final. It changes week to week here. There's not a week that I think our roster was exactly the same last year. Number one, because of injury, but number two, because of effort in practice. We had guys go, Michael Barnett didn't travel, didn't play, to going on the scout team on defensive line, to starting on the defensive line against Georgia Tech. So, I mean, it can come full circle, but we're going to have some tough decisions to make, and we're not going to make them right now. We've got 2 weeks to finalize those choices and decisions.
How much longer are you guys on camp mode? I know that even after camp's over, you kind of stay in that mode. How much longer does that last for you guys?
Probably till Thursday. I mean, because we're gonna start to work on Vanderbilt early, but not too early. We got a lot of games to play besides them, and we're focused as coaches on game planning for them. But with the players, we're focused on getting better. Got to be careful when you have an opponent that you're going to play. If you start too early, I've been there before where they just get tired of preparing for that. They want something new. They want some new energy. So we'll probably introduce Vandy Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday.
Where's the competition at punter at right now?
Both guys have punted well. It's been good competition. I mean, Marta punted well today. Rube Wright punted a couple times as well. And, to be honest, I'd have to watch the tape. All I've got stats for you. I mean, I'm a lot more worried about the hold up and the coverage right now, and then we judge the rest on tape.
Going back to those explosive plays you were talking about with the receivers being the ones, how much of that is Jake and them meshing more, this far on the game?
Well, I mean, I think all colleges in college football are explosive now. I'm not telling you guys they went out there and made 100 explosive plays. That's not the case. I'd be worried about the defense. I think that we've got some explosive playmakers, and we got a quarterback that throws the deep ball well. I mean, it's really one of his better passes, and they were able to connect on some of those today.
Kirby, havoc rate is something you guys have talked about a lot. Where do you think the defense is in that regard, and how do they fare in that area today?
I don't know how they fared today statistically, because I can't compute it. I don't think we fared real well today. I don't think we had some big stops. We had a couple red area stops where I thought, man, they're just driving down the field, then boom, we hit the red area. And if we play really good in the red area, it gives us a fighting chance, because we think we can score points offensively, and defensively, if we hold people to field goals, that's big. But I don't know where our havoc rate was today. I don't feel like it was where we want to be.
Where is the defensive line? I know there's a lot of big guys and a lot of young guys. What can you tell us about where that unit's at?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of guys rolling. There's no one dominant player on that defensive front or defensive line. There's a lot of good, solid players, a lot of experience. I mean, we may roll out there with 6 seniors that have played football: Kel Carter, J.Y., Tyler Clark, Julian Rochester, David Marshall. I mean, it just seems like we got guys that have played a lot of football that are out there. But as far as the younger guys, they're probably not, they're not where the older guys are yet. You can't be. I mean, a guy just gets here and you're looking at the guy that's been playing for 4 years. I mean, that's unrealistic to think that some of those guys are going to be where the older players are. They just can't physically jump into that mold yet. Devontae's done a good job, who I count as a middle player. Jordan Davis is one of those. He's not a freshman, but he's not a senior. He's done some good things. But those guys are coming along. Trevon is the one that has a chance to help us the most this year, because he's not really an interior defensive lineman. He is more athletic, plays on the edge, can do some more stuff on sub situations, where the other guys are a little more run-oriented.
Did you earn that T-shirt from helping Isaiah win in his camp?
Did, man. I wanted to make sure he sent it to me. I told him I would wear it at one of my press conferences, and I saw his video of what he did with the kids before school started. He took a group of kids from his hometown community and bought them all back to school supplies and just did an unbelievable job. It's just so much, it's so indicative of him, of what he did, that I asked him for one of those shirts. So we've been reading his quotes on Win for Wednesday. We've been reading his quotes to the team. So he does a really good job with that.
How was the tackling out there today? And you talked about toughness. Who are some of the guys on the defense that are, hitting people and displaying that toughness you're after?
Well, I probably saw a little more toughness on the front of the offensive line, knocking us off the ball. But there were some licks passed out there. There were some pops made, a couple goal line stops, a couple hits out there with guys closing, But our backs are good players. They're able to make you miss in space. And I thought Kenny McIntosh today did some good things, man. He continues to improve. He's got really good balance, and he's been a good blessing. He's delivered some blows to some people, but Lewis shows up, makes plays, he hits people, and JR had a couple good tackles, and we just got to get our players on defense to play within the system. We still got some guys that want to play rat trap and do what they want to do instead of doing what they're supposed to do, and when they do the rat trap stuff, it hurts us.
In previous camps, you've kind of rooted for the Heat a little bit because you want the guys to have that adversity. What's camp been like in that regard, and how have you seen the team respond to it?
Yeah, it's been hot, guys. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna make any bones about it. Our guys haven't complained about it, and to be honest, we've done a couple practices where we went inside at the end of practice, but we start every day outside. We do 75% of practice outside. We do all the scrimmages out there. I've talked to some coaches that were at our practice that have been to other practices, and they say the same thing. It's hot. So mentally, what are you going to do? It is hot, but our guys pushed through it, and I thought they did a good job of that.
There's been a lot of talk about Andrew Thomas this offseason. What about Isaiah Wilson, his second year as a starter? How would you assess where he is?
He's a better leader. I think he's got more stamina. Like, his ability to lead and play hard longer has been good. His first few practices in camp, I thought he played really physical. He's got to continue to do that. He's got to grind through this and really be physical and be that right tackle we need him to be. And I'm pleased with him as a leader. He's really played with more consistency, I think, because he's in better shape. And he doesn't get tired and winded and give up cheap sacks. He just plays more consistent.
And then as you speak about him being in better shape, I mean, was it easier or difficult for him to buy into the whole nutrition program, weight loss program? He was kind of joking about that the other day.
I think he's bought into the whole culture of I got to be a great player. If he wants to be a great player, he's got to eat, he's got to sleep, he's got to get off his phone at night. He's got to do all the things it requires being a good player. And we're trying to get the aggregate of marginal gains, which is like a little bit better at everything. And he's a guy that has bought into that because you see the results more on the field where he's able to go longer. I mean, he's always physically looked impressive to me, but he played better now.
How's Stetson Bennett performed the last couple of scrimmages, and then who's behind him right now?
Well, DeJuan's not able to go a whole lot in those situations. So Nathan, the Priestley kid's been in there, and he goes a good bit. I tell you, he's been a really like a blessing in disguise for us. He's very bright, very athletic, really good arm talent. I mean, Coley will tell you he takes the best notes I've ever seen in a quarterback room, and within our system, that's important because you don't get the volume of reps you want at the 3. In camp he has, but his reps are going to start to dwindle as we narrow things down. Stetson didn't have as good a day as he did last time. He had a really, really good day last scrimmage, and it was bad today. He just probably wasn't quite as efficient, and just didn't have the same, effectiveness that he had last time.
Can you shed some light, because Priestley's from the West Coast? I mean, can you kind of give us some background there on how you guys recruited him, how he ended up deciding how hard y'all went after him, all that kind of thing to try to convince him to come here?
Well, Coley could probably explain it better than me, but he was early on our list. We thought he was a good player. Junior year, he was a guy that we wanted to go see throw. We wanted to go watch him practice. And we went out spring before his junior year. He's on the list. We watch him. We like him. He's pretty good. Somewhere in there, I'm not sure exactly when he tears his ACL. So he misses majority of his junior year with a torn ACL. And that's basically a quarterback's make or break year because you're getting judged. Everything's based on that. So he didn't have tape from that junior year. And then his senior year, he's coming off an ACL. He played well, and I think he was going to walk on at North Carolina. And at the last minute, he found out he could come in here and be a 3 right away with the one situation, and he jumped on it. And comes from a wonderful family. Got to visit with his mom, and I mean, I'm telling you guys, he's a good player. I mean, when you watch him take his reps with the threes, the way he functions and manages the offense, is we're lucky to have him.
You mentioned McIntosh. How many backs travel, and is he doing things on special teams? Is that how he gets on the bus?
Yeah, I didn't see him today. I mean, he had reps on special teams. I don't know how he did on those. But yeah, we don't know how many backs travel. So if we got 7 backs that are really good, we'll travel 7. If we got 10, we'll travel 10. If they can help on special teams, they'll be out there. We've traveled as few as 4, as many as 7. Prather makes that number vary because he's a really good special teams player. So those decisions we got to make are going to be tough. But somebody like McIntosh is a key to that decision because his value right now is going to be special teams initially, and he earns more value by how he plays on those teams. I think it's new for him. He's going through the Holyfield effect and the Swift effect, and can I help on these teams, and how do I do it? Because I didn't do it in high school. I don't know how to block somebody on punt. I don't know how to cover a kick. But as you train those guys, by game 5, they're better than the guy that may have done his whole life.
You last year you kind of were real complimentary of the wide receivers because so many of those guys contribute on special
Yeah.
teams. I think you traveled 10 to just
Yeah.
about every game. Is that something you guys are going to be able to do this year based on as many contributions as you're getting from them on special teams?
Well, last year our wideouts were dominant special teams group. Tyler Simmons, Jason Stan, dominant to the word D. And we know that we're probably not going to be that way. Now, we got wideouts who are going to play on special teams. But when you start talking about George Pickens, Dom, Blaylock, those guys that haven't seen the light. They don't go out and their high school special teams was I was catching the ball and running with it. I wasn't blocking anybody. I wasn't covering anybody. They have to become those players and be dominant in those roles, and that's something that we're still working on. So we're going to get it by committee. We got more outside backers. We got more inside backers. We got more running backs. So the position versatility for special teams is going to come from which position has the most guys that are the last 5 to get on the bus are going to be dominant special teams players.
What was your reaction last week when that video Pickens got out?
I saw it live, so
Yeah.
I was like, shoot, this is a special player, great catch. He's had, I wouldn't say just like that, but he's had several one-handed catches in practice. He's a talented player. He's got to learn his assignments and learn what to do because he can certainly help us. Thanks, guys.